We all know the stereotype. The bad boy, the one with the leather jacket, the rebellious attitude, the guy who always seems to break the rules and get away with it. And perhaps more intriguingly, we know that women, for some inexplicable reason, are often drawn to him. They're drawn to his confidence, his nonchalance, and that underlying sense of mystery. But why? What is it about the bad boy that holds such magnetic appeal, even when on paper it might seem like a less than ideal choice? To begin, let's take a step back and examine attraction itself. Attraction, in its simplest form, is a deeply biological and psychological process. It's rooted in evolution, and often the decisions we make when it comes to choosing a partner are influenced by factors that we may not even be fully aware of. Women, like men, are driven by both conscious and unconscious impulses that go beyond just looks or social status. And when it comes to the bad boy, this allure runs deep into the very core of human nature. Now, when we think of a bad boy, the first thing that often comes to mind is that he's different from the nice guy. He's daring, spontaneous, and full of energy. He's not the one who plays by the rules. In fact, he might break them just to prove a point. This rebellion, this disregard for authority, can often be perceived as confidence. And confidence is one of the most universally attractive traits. It exudes strength, security, and a sense of control. So right off the bat, the bad boy projects an image of self-assurance. He doesn't second-guess himself. He doesn't apologize for who he is. And in turn, this makes him seem like a catch, someone who could potentially offer stability through the power of his confidence. But there's something else, something more primal, that draws women in. When we look at human behavior through the lens of evolutionary psychology, we see that women are often subconsciously attracted to men who display traits that signal genetic fitness. These traits include physical strength, dominance, and the ability to protect. The bad boy's recklessness, his fearlessness, his risk-taking behavior can be interpreted as signs of strength and resilience. He's not afraid to face danger. He's the kind of guy who is ready to take on whatever challenge comes his way. To some women, this is a sign of power that could offer protection, even if that protection might not always come in the most traditional or safe way. But it doesn't stop there. Beyond power, there's also the concept of novelty. Human beings, by nature, seek out new experiences. We are wired to crave excitement and variety, to step outside of our comfort zones. The bad boy represents that excitement. He offers a lifestyle that is unpredictable, thrilling, and full of surprises. For women, this unpredictability can be intoxicating. The allure of the unknown, the idea that every day could bring something new, is undeniably exciting. It's that rush, that high of knowing that with him, things will never be boring. And let's face it, in the world of routine and repetition, who wouldn't want a little bit of that spark? This concept of novelty ties back to something that many psychologists call arousal. When we experience arousal, whether it's physical, emotional, or even psychological, our brain releases chemicals that make us feel more alive. The bad boy, with his daredevil ways and his unpredictable nature, often stirs that sense of excitement and arousal. And when we feel aroused, we naturally become more engaged, more connected, and more attracted. However, this attraction is not always about the bad boy being perfect. In fact, it's often his flaws, his imperfections, and his brokenness that add to the allure. There's something deeply human about imperfection. It's the same reason why people are drawn to art that's a little bit rough around the edges, or why we love the idea of a flawed hero in a movie. There's a vulnerability that comes with being imperfect, and vulnerability is often seen as a form of strength. When a woman sees the bad boy as someone who is not afraid to show his wounds, his mistakes, his flaws, she might feel a deeper connection to him. It's like an invitation to be a part of his world, a world that is raw, unpolished, and real. And sometimes that sense of authenticity can be more attractive than perfection. But let's not ignore the role of biology in all of this. Science tells us that women, over the course of their evolutionary history, have often been drawn to men who display signs of high testosterone levels. High testosterone is linked to traits such as risk-taking, aggression, and dominance, all characteristics that are commonly associated with the bad boy persona. And while